Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is June 26th, and we have a major episode headlined by the Mets and Phillies. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Boy, there cannot be much of an intro in this one. There is so much, and I mean so many things that I want to talk about in today's episode. I say hundreds of topics, and I'm obviously over-exaggerating, but it was a crazy busy week for baseball, and not only that, but just the world in general. Of course, the World Cup going on, but also the tragedy that took place in Venezuela with the earthquake there. That video footage of the game actually going on when it started and when it happened, and seeing everyone in the middle of the field there. Obviously hard to watch, and obviously a lot of players, from Venezuela. Of course, they won the World Baseball Classic back in March, and I know a lot of players have, have people they know that have unfortunately passed away due to this earthquake and due to this tragedy. So. Thoughts and prayers for all those people, players, families, and Venezuelans out there. But for now, as I mentioned, it is a big episode. So let's get into this series recap. Astros at Blue Jays. Kazuma Okamoto hits his 17th home run of the season. The Blue Jays going to win it 4-2. Yainer Diaz, Cam Smith, Taylor Trammell go back to back, getting homers off of Shane Bieber, who was making his season debut. Luis Urias hits a 2-run homer for the Jays in his first game as a member of the Blue Jays. Varsho ties the game with a 2-run shot in the 7th. We go to extras where it's former Blue Jays Joey Loperfido hitting a 3-run home run. That's the dagger in a 9-7 Astros win. And then in the last game, you got 2 Blue Jay errors late, allow the Astros to take the lead and take this series. They win it 3-1. Royals and Rays. Michael Wacha shoves as the Royals offense just enough to lead them to a 2-1 victory. Then in game 2, you've got Nick Lofton going deep. Jack Caglione joined him going back to back, and then Jack hits a second homer later in the game. The Royals end up winning it 12-5. In Game 3, the Rays score 5 unanswered runs early as they hold the Royals. They do end at 5-3. And in the last game, Junior Caminero has a 3-homer game. The Rays have a combined no-hitter into the 9th before Carter Jensen breaks it up with a 2-run home run. Still a game that was all Tampa in a blowout, 13-2, as these two teams split the 4-game set to apiece. Yankees and Tigers. The Tigers score 3 in the 3rd off of Garrett Cole. Riley Green homers later on. The Tigers win it 5-3. In Game 2, Jazz hits a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 6th, his 12th of the season, leads the Yankees to a 4-3 victory. And in Game 3, Paul Goldschmidt homers twice off of Tarek Skubal. Jason Dominguez gets the dagger, hitting a go-ahead 2-run home run. That's the difference in a 4-2 Yankees win as they take the series. Dodgers and Twins now, 3 solo shots in this game. Ohtani with a leadoff shot. Buxton ties it with his 25th of the season. Freeman puts Dodgers back in front, his 13th. Dodgers win it 2-1. In Game 2, Alex Call hits his first home run of the season. The Dodgers blow it open with 5 runs in the 9th as they are led to a 12-3 victory. And in the last game, Mookie Betts, his career home run, number 300 of his career. Congrats, Mookie Betts. The Dodgers come back with 3 runs in the 3rd. They hold on for the sweep, 4-3, the final there. Guardians and White Sox. The Guardians take the lead with 2 runs in the 9th, but the White Sox answer, getting those 2 runs back on a walk-off single from Sam Antonacci, who wins it for the Chicago White Sox 6-5 in the opener. Khalil Watson got his first Major League hit in the first game. He gets his first career Major League home run here in the second game. But Miguel Vargas spoils the party, hits the go-ahead home run in the 6th. That's the difference in a 2-1 White Sox win. But in the last game, the White Sox are down to their last out. They hit back-to-back home runs from Braden Montgomery and Randall Grichuk. That ties the game up as we go to extras. But Khalil Watson gets the RBI single for the Guardians. They hold on to beat the White Sox 4-3 in 10. Orioles and Angels now. Taylor Ward, Kobe Mayo, they go deep. It's 6-1 Baltimore in the opener. Nolan Schanuel hits a 2-run homer in the first, which was already enough for the Angels to win as their pitching holds the O's to a 5-1 victory. And in the last game, Samuel Basallo hits a 2-homer game for the Orioles. The Angels tie it, scoring 3 in the 8th, and then Logan O'Hoppe gets the walk-off single on a check swing dribbler, hit 18.9 miles an hour off the bat that only went 15 feet, but hey, a walk-off single just the same. 7-6 Angels, they take the series. Rangers and Marlins now. Ezekiel Duran hits a 2-run home run, helping the Rangers to a 4-3 victory. Heriberto Hernandez, Joe Mack, and Owen Casey all go deep for the Marlins in Game 2, leading them to a 6-4 victory. And then Otto Lopez picks up big insurance runs. He hits a 2-run homer in the 8th in the last game, 4-2 Miami, as they take 2 of 3 from the Rangers. Phillies and Nats played for Luis Garcia Jr., Curtis Mead. They go deep in the opener, and the Nats take it 4-1. In Game 2, the Nats led by 5 runs at one point. Phillies took the lead, but the Nats got it back on a go-ahead 3-run home run from Jorbit Vivas. The Phillies then proceeded to drop a hammer, getting Marsh to tie it with a home run in the 9th, and then a go-ahead 3-run home run from Bryson Stott as the Phillies score 8 runs in the 9th inning to come back and win it 14-9. In Game 2, Luis Garcia Jr. homers for a 3rd straight game. Jorbit Vivas homers in back-to-back games. Curtis Mead homers in his for his 2nd home run of the series. And that one is for the lead in the 6th inning. But once again, the Phillies strike in the 9th. A go-ahead home run, this one from Derek Hill. The Phillies win it 5-4, and in the last game, it's Curtis Mead again. 4 games, 3 home runs. Marsh gets one for the Phillies. That ties it in the 9th. And then for a 3rd straight game, the Phillies hit a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning. This time it's Bryce Harper. They went on to win it 10-5, scoring a bunch of runs. The Phillies take 3 of 4 from the Nats in historic fashion. Cubs and Mets also played for, but there was rain on the Monday, which moved a doubleheader to the Wednesday. So we opened it up on the Tuesday. PCA homers versus his former team. Dansby joins him with a home run, 9-6 Cubs. Then the doubleheader on Wednesday, it starts with Michael Busch going deep. Dansby gets a 3-run home run, and he would follow that up with a grand slam. He has 3 homers in the first 2 games of this series. Cubs win it 10-3. Dansby Swanson comes through plenty of times again in Game 3, going 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs as he has a special doubleheader, while the Mets commit 6 errors in the game, the downfall of New York. 10-5 Cubs the final, and in the last game, the Mets came back from down 3 with home runs from Eric Wagaman and Jared Young, but only to get it to a tie. We're in extra innings where PCA delivers. He scores the run in the 10th. The Cubs hold on for the 4-game sweep of the Mets. Are you kidding me, Mets? What are we doing? Brewers and Reds now. Brandon Woodruff and Brady Singer pitch a duel as no runs were scored through 9 innings. The Brewers get 2 in the 10th, hold the Reds to just 1, and take a 2-1 victory. In Game 2, Brandon Sprott matches Woodruff's line exactly as Bowers gets an RBI triple to help get the dub in a 2-0 Brewers win. And in the last game, it's William Contreras and Jake Bowers. They hit back-to-back home runs. The Brewers win it 6-5 and sweep the Reds. Mariners and Pirates now. Cal Raleigh and Cole Young both go deep as the Mariners come back to win it 3-2. In Game 2, Pirates score 5 runs in the 4th, add 4 more in the 7th as they blow it open, win it 11-1. And in the last game, Brandon Lau, his 19th homer of the season, Henry Davis, his 6th. Pirates win it 5-1 and take the series. D-backs and Cardinals now. The Cardinals get 2 in the 4th. That ends up being the difference in a 3-2 Cardinals win. Then, after 8 innings of goose eggs in Game 2, the D-backs score 4 runs in the 9th, and it's a good thing they did because the Cardinals answered, but only with 3 runs. 7 runs in the inning, but the D-backs hold on 4-3 the final. In the next game, Lou James Groover hits his first career MLB home run. Lou James Groover, what a baseball name. Cattell also goes deep for the Diamondbacks as they take a 9-4 victory. And what would have been a 4-game set is now just a 3, as the last game was rained out, moved to July 23rd. So you've got a 2-3 series win for the D-backs. Braves and Padres now. Manny Machado, his 14th home run of the season. It's the only run of the game. 1-0 the final there. In Game 2, the Braves score 4 in the second. Padres respond with 5 in the same inning. The Braves retake the lead. Tatis homers in the 7th. We are tied and we go to extras where Manny Machado delivers again the walk-off single for the win. Padres take a 7-6 victory. And in the last game, Ty France, his 9th home run of the season. The Padres become the first team all season long to sweep the Atlanta Braves. They win it 5-2 and get the broom. A's and Giants now. Young-Ho Lee homers for his 5th of the season, helping the Giants to a 3-1 victory. The Giants down 1 in Game 2. They hit 2 solo shot home runs from Rafael Devers, who ties the game, and Victor Barracoto, who hit a walk-off home run as the Giants come back, win it 2-1. And in the last game, the Giants score 5 in the 6th to take the lead. The A's answer by scoring 7 unanswered runs in the last 3 innings, including 4 in the 9th to take the lead on a Lawrence Butler single. A's hold on, they win it 9-6. Last but not least, we have the Red Sox and the Rockies down by 2 with the bases loaded in the 9th. Jake McCarthy ropes a ball down the line. 1 run scores, 2 runs scores, ball gets away, 3 runs score. It's a walk-off triple for Jake McCarthy, which hasn't happened in over 20 years. Rockies come back, win it 3-2. Willie Abreu, his 10th home run of the season. Sonny Gray shoves against the Rockies. Red Sox take a 5-2 victory, and in the road match, Connor Wong hits his first home run of the season. The Rockies come back from down 3 with 5 unanswered in the 7th and 8th. Win it 8-6, take 2 of 3 from the series, and that's your series recap. All right, now time for the game of the week, and there were some plenty of good ones, including 3 straight from the Phillies, which we'll be getting into first here, but we're taking it to Game 2 on the Tuesday between the Phillies and the Nationals. I'm telling you, these games were crazy. Bottom second, Jacob Young grounds into a double play, but a run does come in to score. Nats up 1-0. Then in the 4th, Nazmin Nunez, the 2 RBI single, followed by Jose Tena and his 2 RBI single. They get 4 in the inning. It's 5-0. Top 5th, Edmundo Sosa, his 5th homer of the season, gets the Phillies on the board. It's 5-2. They then add 1 in the 7th as Sosa would ground out, but that scores a run. 5-3 now. Top 8, JT Realmuto with the bases loaded delivers the bases clearing double 3-run score. And just like that, the Phillies have come back from 5 runs to take a 6-5 lead. But we're not done, because in the bottom of the 8th, the Nats get those 3 runs back on a Jorbit Vivas 3-run home run, his 2nd of the season. And from 6-5, the Nats retake a 2-run lead. It's 8-6. We go to the top of the 9th. Brandon Marsh ties the game, a 2-run shot with his 11th of the season. And then down to their last out with 2 runners on, Bryson Stott hits his 7th homer of the season, a 3-run shot. Phillies take an 11-8 lead. They're not done, because Edmundo Sosa then picks up an RBI double, scoring 2. Trey Turner picks up the RBI single, making it 14-8. We go bottom 9th, where the Nationals get a home run from Luis Garcia Jr., his 12th of the season, but they needed more than that as the Phillies score 8 in the 9th to flip the script, take the win, 14-9 the final, and it set up 2 historic games, might I add you. As we get into that here really quickly, the Phillies came back with go-ahead home runs with 2 outs in the inning, 3 straight games. And what's funny enough, when you look at the Bryson Stott one, which was the first one on the Tuesday, his 3-run home run, the 2 runners on base, Derek Hill and Bryce Harper. Why is that significant? Well, on Wednesday, it was Derek Hill's go-ahead home run in the 9th, and on Thursday, it was Bryce Harper's go-ahead home run in the 9th. So Bryson Stott, with those 2 runners on, basically blessed them to then go and hit go ahead home runs in the ninth inning in the next two games. I found that to be very funny. Of course, on that Thursday yesterday as well, the Phillies did not score 8 runs in the ninth, but they did turn it around, scoring 5 runs in the inning. So yeah, just a crazy stuff. I mean, it's kind of what you expect. Like when you said like, oh, Phillies and Nats are playing games, you would expect like, oh, the Phillies to take most of it. The Nats did a really good job in the series to like, have leads and everything, but they just could not hold it. The bullpen was taxed, and just no one could get the last couple of guys out, and that led to some history. It's obviously the first time in MLB history that you've had 3 straight games of go-ahead home runs in the ninth inning. Bryson Stott, Derek Hill, and Bryce Harper get to be part of that history. Really cool for those guys, and of course, really cool for Phillies fans. So yeah, that's our first bit of baseball news here. We'll take a look quickly at a trade that went down. Of course, trade deadline about 5-ish weeks away still, but that doesn't mean we can't already start. And with injuries and a Mets team that's definitely been struggling, the Cubs have made the move to trade for David Peterson. The Mets are getting infielder Cole Mathis back from the Cubs. He was ranked their number 13th prospect in their organization. David Peterson, you could say, is somewhat of a stabilizer. He was that for the Mets in 2024 and into 2025, where he nabbed his first All-Star nod, first and only All-Star nod. He's been with the Mets since COVID, since 2020 when he went 6-2 with a 3.44 ERA. He's bounced from the rotation to the bullpen, but really since 2023 going into 2024, he has been a starter through and through. Has done some bullpen work though out of it this year here in 2026. But you look at those years in 24 and 25, he was very solid for the Mets and kind of a rock in a, position where the Mets always had injuries in their rotation. But in those 2 years, he made 51 starts, a 3.67 ERA, a 19-9 record, and helped them win a lot. 4.5 WAR in that time as well. 4.5 in 2024, 2.2 in 2025. Nope, that's wrong. 2.9 in 2024, 1.6 in 2025, which ends up being that 4.5 WAR that I mentioned. And again, really solid pitcher. He has the complete game shutout last year as well. And he's a solid pitcher across those 7 years in the big leagues. A 40-36 record, a 6-point WAR, a 4.31 ERA. He is not, the guy that is your ace of the staff, but he is your 3-4 starter and a pretty good one at that. If you were to rank all of the 4th starters in baseball, I think David Peterson would be up there. And the Cubs, who clearly always deal with injuries, thought it was best to go out and get a guy who, with his numbers, I mean, this year has definitely been a tough season for him. Probably one of the worst seasons of his career. In 16 games, he's made 8 starts. He has a 6.09 ERA. How much of that is because he's just on a Mets team? Who knows? A 3-6 record right now in his age 30 season. So not going great for Peterson, but maybe the change of scenery will definitely help him as he is heading to the Chicago Cubs. So good for David Peterson to get out of a Mets team that's definitely in a stinker, which kind of brings us to the next little bit of news here, which are the Mets got embarrassed by the Cubs this week. And in doing so, they also got their manager fired. Dansby Swanson was on a tear. Take away the last game of the series. Just take Tuesday and the Wednesday doubleheader. Those 3 games, Dansby had 15 RBIs, which hasn't been done by a player since 2016. And in the doubleheader, he picked up 11 RBIs alone, hitting 2 home runs, of course, a 3-run shot and the grand slam in that first game. He was 5 for 9. So that means on Tuesday, he had 4 RBIs. Then on the first game on the doubleheader, he would have had 7 at least because of the 3-run home run plus the grand slam. Like, he has been insane. His numbers recently have been boost the hell. Dansby Swanson has been the hottest player right now. If we were on Monday, we'd be talking about Dansby Swanson. We'd be talking about Dansby Swanson come Monday, unless he has a horrendous weekend. But he's been playing great, as has been other players as well that have really stepped up here in the month of June. But the Mets are dead. The Mets are dead in the water. Like it's officially time to declare them dead. You could also argue the Red Sox because of what happened in that first game of the series against the Rockies, where they're up by 2, and then the walk-off triple, which hasn't happened in 20 years. That's just hilarious stuff overall. But the Mets, they're on a 6-game losing skid here after dropping 4 straight now to the Cubs. They're 15 games back of the division from the Braves. They're 9.5 back from the wild card. 10 full games about halfway through the season. That is a substantial amount. They're about 6 games back of the Nationals just for 4th in the division. They're 34-47, a whopping 13 games under 500. And, if they were in the AL, maybe it's not as bad as it seems because of how weak the AL has been. But when you look at the NL, it's been loaded. The Braves have been awesome. The Phillies have been really good. They've turned it around. Miami's been surprisingly very good as well. Nats playing 500 baseball. Who would have thought? Brewers and Cubs, of course, great. Cardinals have still kind of stayed in the mix, despite being one of those teams that I thought weren't going to do well this year. Pirates have had hits, ups and downs. The Dodgers are the best. The Padres are extremely good. The Diamondbacks are still above 500 kicking it. So, realistically, the only teams that you'd put in the bottom category here for the NL, the Rockies, the Giants, the Reds have kind of taken more steps back recently than steps forward, so it's tough for them. And the Mets, you're talking about those are the 4 worst teams in the NL. All 11 other teams are actually pretty good, and you could make a case for any of those 11 to be in the postseason come October. So right now the Mets are in a position where just nothing's worked. And they go out and they grab Bo Bichette and they have to do all these things. I mean, you had fans in that doubleheader chanting Pete Alonso towards the end of it. You had 6 errors in the game. That is inexcusable. You're a major league ball club. Errors are going to happen. Yeah, 1 error, maybe 2 in a ball game. Once you get to 3 errors in a ball game, you just chalk it up as, wow, we had a really stinky game. To end up with 6, your game was shit if you're getting 6 errors in the game. And all this accompanies to news that broke this morning, which was that the Mets have said bye-bye to Carlos Mendoza. And if I'm being honest, after the Red Sox said bye-bye to Alex Cora, this was a move that I thought was bound to happen, and I'm surprised it took this long, if I'm being honest with you. Carlos Mendoza took over for the Mets as manager in 2024 and ended up bringing them to 89 wins, and as well as a postseason berth that year where they got all the way to the NLCS. A pretty successful season in your first tenure as a manager. Winning 7 games, losing 6 obviously in the end of it. Then in 2025, they did just miss out on the postseason, finishing 83-79. And this year, as I mentioned, 34-47 has been really bad stink of things recently. They gave him exactly halfway. The Mets have played 81 games this season. So they let him try for half of the season, but it's time to move on. And who are they moving on to? Well, they have named Andy Green the interim manager for the New York Mets here. His manager record, he took over for the Padres back in 2016, and he was with them for 3.5 seasons, basically towards the end in 2019. He managed 154 games, but then that was it for him. Of course, those 2016 to 2019 Padre teams were never very good. The best that he did was finished 4th in the division. That was in 2017 when he went 71-91. That was the most wins he's had in a season. In that 4-year stint, or basically 4-year stint, 274 wins to 366 losses. So Yeah, but obviously the Padres teams back then weren't great, so maybe he could turn this Mets team around. Who knows? Mendoza, 206 wins, 199 losses. So just in his time, he basically was a 500 manager. 7 game difference there between his wins and losses. Nothing crazy here, if I'm being honest. I'm not expecting Andy Green to be this huge turnaround saving grace for the Mets at all. But we've seen it spark teams in the past. We've seen it kill teams in the past. This is one that, you could say, yeah, the Mets probably are dead here. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Mets are, season's chalked at this point. So, unfortunate there for New York. Really bad week, and it ends with the manager saying goodbye as well here. In other news, we had a new CBA proposal from MLB. We're going around free agency here. I just want to mention it really quickly, mention off some of the big things that they announced. Starting off with max contracts. So for players entering free agency, there is a max of a 5-year deal that you could sign if you are switching teams. 6-year is the max if you are staying on a current team. So for example, if this was already in place, let's say last year, a player like Dylan Cease, who signed a 7-year deal with the Blue Jays, he could have only signed a 5-year deal with the Blue Jays or signed that 6-year deal back with the Padres. So that is an interesting little, proposed thing there. They would also get rid of no deferral contracts as well as no qualifying offer. So the structure of a player's journey to free agency would change a bit as well. It would just take 5 years to reach free agency for players over 30 now. Of course, that was not the case still. They've also decided that they were going to increase the minimum salary from $780K to $1 million for players with at least 2 years of service. For players who have only played for 0 to 1 years, they would get that $1 million if they get a full year of service. So there are some interesting tidbits there. There were some other things in the proposal, but those were the key big main takeaways. If I am the Players Association, there are some things that I like here. There are some things that I'm a little bit interested in. One thing that I did see from the Players Union was that they want to get rid of in-game prop bets because that leads to a lot of harassment online from, disgruntled gamblers when they get their bets wrong. Like if you put money on a guy like PCA to hit a home run and he doesn't, you're going to go and, bash him online, which I think that's a fair thing. And I think that's a good thing for the game to have to say bye-bye to the prop bets and everything. So there's definitely some other things there that we'll get into. But overall, the proposals, they keep happening. Things are slowly happening. Hopefully, they can work together here for no lockout. But just wanted to mention that really quickly here. Something else I really wanted to mention really quickly was Dalton Rushing on Wednesday. He just had a day that he wanted to forget. I thought it was more like personal things, but it seemed like it was all kind of on the field things. There was at one point, Ohtani was pitching this day. He threw a pitch that was in the strike zone, but it was called a ball, and Rushing wasn't going to challenge, but Ohtani did, and Rushing shook his head saying, no, like, that's a ball. And obviously, when the ABS comes on the screen, it shows that it's a complete strike. And Rushing, who has been struggling at the plate, he's obviously been getting a lot of starts recently with Will Smith going on the IL. He was just in a really tough spot that day. You see him on the bench absolutely bashing his head in, whether it's from that or his offensive abilities, which again recently have been in a bit of a slump. You had plenty of Dodger personnel go over to talk to him, including their mental coach, Freddie Freeman, who, of course, is the voice of reason, of course, manager Dave Roberts as well. So all of them trying to get his head into the right state here because it was just a really tough Wednesday. Rushing, of course, he's become one of the personalities of the season in a negative way. He's kind of taken over a role as one of baseball's villains. I'm sure even Dodgers fans have their own little nits with Rushing, and the way he's been, the comments he's made, what he's done both on and off the field hasn't been pretty. But this is just a look, of course, into what it's like sometimes to be a Major League ball player. It can be tough, taking the hate online, struggling in and out of games, maybe not getting the exact support that you'd want from your teammates or the exact, homage. So it's definitely been a little bit of a tough stretch for Dalton Rushing. And, he showed it on the field, which, again, me personally, I have no issue with it because I think it's important for players to be who they are and to be human. But obviously, it's a tough look, to be, Rushing. And as I said, who's been in plenty of controversies this season, and there's been a lot of, poor decisions made. To then have that look, it's a little bit harder for players to kind of, not players, but for fans to kind of side with you at that point when you've been the guy that you've been this season. So I wanted to mention it. It was interesting. Ohtani was kind of giving him a stern talking to as well during the game. Which, I mean, I say stern talking to. It was just a normal conversation, but it's Shohei Ohtani, which you barely see that from ever. So it definitely was something that's hey, let's maybe jot this down and see. So I want to mention it. There's videos online if you want to see it here. As I mentioned this week, like I said, it was jam-packed with things. We had plenty of history, facts, milestones, etc. You name it. So I just want to kind of just jumble them all into one little section here. It's the first time this season that the Braves have been swept. It was done by the San Diego Padres, who got that done and dusted. Man, Machado, the walk-off, his home run for the 1-0 game. So check there for the Braves. Good stuff there. Mookie Betts hit his 300th career home run, of course, with the Red Sox and the Dodgers. Springer hit his 300th just a while back ago. Now Mookie goes deep, so it's pretty cool to have players kind of sharing similar milestones. We had Gosman with 250K earlier in the season, Scherzer's 350K, so 3,500, but you know what I mean. Sandy Alcantara, he had really cool history. He became the Marlins' all-time franchise leader in strikeouts. And it was kind of a tough scene because not a lot of fans in the ballpark in general, but the ones in there didn't really know about it. So you have your, the bench and your players, your teammates, giving you a massive round of applause and everything. And the rest of the stadium was kind of quiet until the Jumbotron showed it on the big screen. That's when he started to get the applause that he so rightfully deserved for that moment. But even then, the Jumbotron took about 30 seconds to put that on the screen. That should have been something that was ready to go as soon as it happened. Players and Clayton McCullough, the manager, that was a little bit upset at the fans, telling him hey, get on your feet, clap, let's go. The announcers, the broadcasters for both the Rangers and the Marlins were mentioning it and talking about it because becoming a franchise record is a major milestone. It's really cool. Sandy definitely deserves it. He's been a rock for the Marlins. Of course, Cy Young winner in the past as well. He's a fantastic pitcher. Potentially getting dealt at the trade deadline. We'll have to see how that goes, but congrats to him. That's some big time stuff there. And another thing to mention here, Victor Barricado. He hit the walk-off home run against the A's in Game 2 of this series. What was fun about this home run is that it had an exit velocity of 108.7. It went 445 feet with a hang time of 5.2 seconds. On Wednesday, Barricado homered again. The stats of that, exact exit velo, 108.7, 445 feet, a hang time of 5.3. Almost exactly identical metrics home runs. The only thing is an extra 0.1 second of hang time more on the Wednesday home run. Of course, Barricado, one of the individuals, Venezuelan, who's been affected by that tragedy. I believe it was his sister-in-law, sister-in-law, his brother's girlfriend or wife, that passed away in the horrific events there as well. But, at least he was able to homer for her and better place. But yeah, it's crazy to have basically a deja vu moment there with the exact same exit velocity, the exact same feet, 5.2 hang time to 5.3 hang time. Just very, very interesting. You had the Jake McCarthy walk-off triple, which hasn't happened in 20 years. So like I said, just plenty of crazy things that went down this week here. And of course, it all concludes with phase one of the All-Star voting now have been wrapped up. And what you end up there is that Shohei Ohtani is your NL DH starter for the All-Star game. He got the most votes, coming in at 3,341,257. But just a mere 100K away from that was Mr. Ernie Clement, who is the AL starting second baseman, who had 3,232,932 votes. Ernie, of course, DFA'd by the Guardians, DFA'd by the A's, ends up on the Blue Jays, where he becomes a dog. He becomes a postseason hero, postseason record books, playing in World Series games. He then ends up playing for USA in the World Baseball Classic, and now he is a starting second baseman and leading all of the AL in voting. It's definitely one of the coolest stories in baseball. Congrats to both Ernie and Shohei on their all-star selections. And now we are going to be entering phase two, which starts on Monday, and it's going to be basically 1 versus 1. Who do you think will get it? The AL catcher, it's going to be Shea Langeliers versus Alejandro Kirk. For first base, it will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. versus Ben Rice. For third base, it'll be Junior Caminero versus Kazuma Okamoto. For shortstop, it'll be Bobby Witt Jr. versus Andres Jimenez. For the outfield, it's Mike Trout versus Aaron Judge versus Byron Buxton versus Cody Bellinger versus Dalton Varsho versus Jesus Sanchez. And for ALDH, it will be Yordan Alvarez versus George Springer. And if you notice, there was a Blue Jay in all of the positions there, a total of 7 Blue Jays. Kirk, Guerrero, Okamoto, Jimenez, Varsho, Sanchez, and Springer. How many of that 7 truly deserve it? Who knows? We'll have to see how the voting goes. There will be 4 days going from the Monday to the Tuesday next week. On the NL side, you got a couple of closer matchups, I would say. NL catcher Drake Baldwin versus Will Smith. You've got first baseman Freddie Freeman versus Matt Olson, which I think will be the most closest vote between the two of them. Both have been amazing. Second baseman, you have Ozzie Albies versus Bryson Stott. Third baseman, Max Muncy versus Alec Boehm. Shortstop, you've got CJ Abrams versus Mookie Betts. And then in the outfield, you have Andy Pages versus Brandon Marsh versus Ronald Acuna Jr. versus Teoscar Hernandez versus Juan Soto versus Michael Harris II. That is 6 Dodgers in the list here. Some other ones, of course. But yeah, Freeman versus Olsen definitely, I think, is the closest matchup there. But those are the players that have made it out of stage 1 or phase 1 of the All-Star voting, and that's who will be starting games. Obviously, with injuries, a guy like Judge might easily get a spot in the AL outfield, but of course, he's not going to be playing. So even if he gets the start, someone else will eventually take over. But I digress. That's what the phase 1 has concluded with. That's what we're going to be entering phase 2 with, again, starting on Monday. That brings us now into the normal bits of the episode. We're going to start with the injury updates here. Ryan McMahon from the Yankees, 10-day IL with a throat infection. Lucas Giolito on the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. Michael Garcia from the Royals, 10-day IL, a sprained left hand. Steven Matz from the Rays, 15-day IL with a sprained ankle. Edward Cabrera, 15-day IL with a strained hamstring. Zach Geloff ends up on the 10-day IL with a hand contusion after being cleated by Matt Chapman. The video was not pretty, I'll tell you that. Spencer Horwitz, 10-day IL, a strained hamstring, and then Marcus Semien, 10-day IL with a strained hip flexor. Those are your injury updates. And then now takes us to our outstanding performances from the week here. It starts with Framber Valdez, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts against the Yankees. Good stuff there. Michael Wacha, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Anthony Kay was surprisingly great against the Guardians. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Maybe one of his best starts in the majors. Kyle Bradish from Baltimore, 8 innings, 6 hits, no runs, a walk, 9 Ks. Michael King goes 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, 5 Ks. Jake Bennett, I believe, went 6, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 9 Ks. You have Foster Griffin, who continues to break out for the Nationals, 7 1/3, 4 hits, a run, no walks, and 9 Ks. Then you have Brady Singer, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Brandon Woodruff from Milwaukee, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks. Brandon Spratt from the Brewers, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks. Identical. Incredible stuff there from Milwaukee. Parker Messick, 7 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 10 Ks. Just 2 solo shots, but otherwise brilliant. Ryan Johnson, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, 8 Ks. Sonny Gray, 7 innings, 6 hits, a run, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. Robbie Ray goes 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 6 Ks. Braxton Ashcraft, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 10 Ks. Gage Jump, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. And lastly, Ian Seymour, 6 2/3, 0 hits, 0 runs, just 1 walk while striking out 7. Those are the outstanding performances from the week here, as we'll get into the stat leaderboard. And again, not much has changed. Otto Lopez still leads an average at 340. He still leads at hits, now above 100 at 107. Kyle Schwarber still leads in home runs. He's up to 29. Nick Kurtz is now the solo leader for RBIs. He's up to 62. James Wood still leading in runs at 70. Nick Kurtz still leading in walks at 73. Bobby Witt no longer leads in stolen bases. It is Nazmin Nunez who is the first to reach over 30 stolen bases on the season. He's up to 31. Then Jordan Alvarez still leads in OPS 1.055, the only qualified hitter to have an OPS above 1 DAT. Aaron Ashby still leads in wins at 10. Jacob Mizrowski in ERA 1.45. Jacob Mizrowski in strikeouts 138. Kate Smith still leads in saves, still at 24. Did not record a single save this week. And how could you when the White Sox are very, very good? And remember, they hit back-to-back home runs, Brandon Montgomery, Randall Grichuk, to steal one against Kate Smith and the Guardians there. So really cool stuff there. That now takes us to the upcoming series. For the weekend, there are some good baseball games, I'll tell you that. D-backs in the Trop to take on the Rays. The Nationals going to Baltimore to take on the Oilers. You got the Rangers in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Yankees at Red Sox. The rivalry continues there. Rockies at Twins. Royals at White Sox. Astros at Tigers. You've got the Mariners and the Guardians. That's a fun one. A's at Angels. The Phillies, one of the hot teams in baseball, taking on the Mets, the coldest team in baseball, I would argue. Marlins at Cardinals. That could be a sneaky good series. Reds at Pirates, Cubs at Brewers would be a great series. Both teams on a 4-game set. Both teams first and second in the NL Central, so that's one to watch. You've got the Dodgers and the Padres. Oh boy, who doesn't love when these two teams meet? That is going to be some great, very interesting baseball here. Right now, the Dodgers have a 9-game lead over the Padres. So if the Padres want to win the division, they're going to have to put some work into that. We ended off with the Braves and the Giants. That is what we're saying there for the upcoming series. And that now just takes us to our playoff predictor for this episode if the baseball season ended today. The Astros are in the 6th seed. They're taking on the Mariners in the 3 seed. That'll battle the AL West there. Guardians, the 5 seed, taking on the Rays in the 4 seed for the AL wild card. Mariners beat the Astros. Guardians beat the Rays, so the ALDS matchups. Mariners at the White Sox, who are the 2 seed. Guardians at the Yankees, who are the 1 seed. Guardians, big time upset against the Yankees. White Sox handle the Mariners, so you have an ALCS matchup of an AL Central teams. Guardians and the White Sox. Chicago, they ain't losing. They head to the World Series. On the NL side, your 6-seeded Cardinals taking on your 3-seeded Braves. Your 5-seeded Cubs takes on your 4-seeded Phillies. The Braves beat the Cardinals while the Phillies beat the Cubs. So the NLDS matchups, the Braves against the Brewers, who are the 2-seed. Phillies against the Dodgers, who are the 1-seed. The Phillies get their revenge against the Dodgers, while the Brewers take care of Atlanta. So your NLCS matchup, Phillies at the Brewers. This would be a very, very, very good NLCS matchup, and it would fall the Phillies' way because they've got the magic touch right now. With a World Series between the Chicago White Sox and the Philadelphia Phillies, it is your Philadelphia Phillies that would be your 2026 World Series champions if the season ended today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how this one ends. I appreciate you all. Crazy episodes, lots to talk about, and I feel like we didn't give as much justice to some things as we did others. But again, it was an absolutely insane week for baseball, and still more to come. The World Cup wrapping up its group stages, and baseball getting closer and closer to the All-Star break, the trade deadline happening soon. So yeah, baseball, it's getting hot, it's getting dicey. Your team needs to turn it around now if they are one of those teams sitting on the outside, but I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody so much, and I will see you on Monday.